Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am checking in with an August native garden tour. Now, I have been a little rough on myself and the plant palette in the recent times because I thought it wasn't looking good. I've got to say, my opinion is changing yet again. I've spent some time doing some weeding, doing some cutbacks, and all of a sudden, a whole bunch of stuff is starting to bloom, and I'm like, oh wait, actually, these borders are beautiful. What was I talking about? So let me turn this camera around and give you an up close view of everything that's blooming here in my native gardens in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. Well, probably the single most important thing to note is that I've spent some time on my hands and knees weeding out all that Bermuda grass, and boom, suddenly looks like it's a garden and not a weed patch. Now, in addition to that, we've got nice rebloom starting here on Spirea alba. You can see the grasses, specifically the pink and white muhly grasses, are really bulking up. The Heliopsis is looking awesome. This has been in bloom for a couple of weeks. Behind that, we have the ironweed, Vernonia, and of course, look at all those berries on the Ilex decidua. Oh, cute little lizard climbing through. Now we're getting a succession of different species of Rudbeckia. Over here, we've got Rudbeckia subtomentosa, which I really like a lot. On the other side over there, we have Rudbeckia triloba that has been blooming for at least 6 weeks. And mixed in with that is a really terrific Solidago called Solar Cascade. And you can see the Solidago isn't quite open yet, but it's starting to show color. And the texture mixed with that Rudbeckia triloba, I think, is really, really quite attractive. And as we make our way over here, I don't want to jinx it, but the deer are actually leaving at least some of these echinacea alone, and they're blooming for the first time all summer. And what a difference it makes. Echinacea, when it's flowering, is totally a plant that everybody wants to have. And of course, it's a pollinator favorite. As you can see, here are the painted lady gathering nectar. Now, I did add Verbena bonariensis, and this isn't exactly native. It's actually a South American native plant, but I really do love it. I like how well it's filling in, especially over here. It's light and airy. It's a little taller, which I appreciate. And of course, pollinators do love it. You can see for here is a hummingbird moth gathering nectar from the Verbena bonariensis. It's also really cool to see in here that the Cephalanthus is putting on another flush of flowers. And, you know, these little Sputnik balls are so cool. And lots of pollinators enjoy gathering nectar from those as well. Over here in this shrub border, more Rudbeckia subtomentosa. This is Henry Eilers, which has the quilled petals. I think are really, really interesting. I like the yellow and blue combination a lot. Maybe that's me coming from Michigan. This is Salvia azurea. Bit big for an edge planting, but I actually am planning to extend these borders, make the beds bigger. And last week, Aiden and I did a little experiment with actually weed eating down some of the carex that had gotten really dried out. And I gotta say, it looks a million times better just being cut down. We didn't actually pull anything out of here. We just kind of letting the stuff that got weed eaten decompose in place. Not seeing all those brown tips makes a big difference psychologically, at least for me. I've been hoping that the Spirea tomentosa would rebloom. I think what I need to do today is just come through and cut all these seed heads off. For one reason, they will all germinate. And I think this is a plant that does have the potential to like spread pretty regularly. But I think if I cut those off, it will it'll encourage new growth, which you can see there is some new growth coming down there. And then I might actually have more flowers for the fall season, which I would really appreciate having. You can see American Gold Rush Rudbeckia, much more demure. Of course, the deer have been eating it as well, but a nice planting. I do have some weeding here where the centipede turf is running in, but I'll tell you, centipede is much easier to get out compared to the Bermuda grass that was spreading in other parts of the garden. This won't take much effort to just go ahead and pull all this out, re-engage the bed edge. That's really all that it takes to make these borders look good, is just a clear bed edge. Over here, the Pycnanthemum are just rocking and rolling. Tons and tons of pollinator activity on it. This is Pycnanthemum muticum. Really probably would like to just go ahead and let this entire border be Pycnanthemum with muhly grass. And then over here you can see the Scutellaria incana is reblooming. And I really love this Scutellaria. I was going to cut it down and then I never got around to it. And it doesn't matter because it's reblooming right along with the mature seed pods. I really like this combination a lot. And of course more Pycnanthemum muticum. All the pollinators just love this plant. I'm terrible at getting the goldfinches, but there's a goldfinch right there on the Rudbeckia maxima. They are so cute. They love to eat the seeds. They eat also the echinacea seed and eventually the Rudbeckia seed. And over here in the pollinator pocket bed, there's a yellowfinch over here eating echinacea. See that right there. You can also see that I've got lots of veggie mix on hand for building out new beds later this season. And this bed, I also did some major weeding on. See, it really got all the grass out of the edge, and that's made a world of difference. I've cut a handful of things down, and we were having a discussion. I think I need to just move these couple of Gold Rush Rudbeckias and let that Solidago just take over. If I'm learning anything from these native beds, it's to not try and be in too much control. And you know, if you have some plants that are really aggressive, either make the decision to not have them or let them do their job. And in the case of this bed, I'm gonna let the Solidago do its job. I would be totally happy if this bed just became Pycnanthemum, Solidago, and muhly grass. And that may end up being how it shakes out, because a lot of the other plants are not really performing as well as they could be. When this Solidago starts to bloom, it's going to be a complete knockout and a pollinator fest. So it'll be soon. You can see the flowers are starting to form. So a lot more to look forward to here. And I do have to say, it's really charming to see those goldfinches coming out and eating the echinacea. So I don't really like the look of the dried echinaceas. I really appreciate that the goldfinches do like it, and that's reason to keep them. Well, the area I'm most embarrassed by is this foundation bed, and I have big plans. We're gonna make the bed a little bigger. We're gonna rent a sod cutter, and we just need to do some serious weeding. And I've been debating on what should go in here, and I think I've decided I just want to make this an entire border of phlox, specifically Phlox Bright Eyes. Again, just judging off of what I've put in, what's performing. The phlox is performing. I've got lots of weeds, of course. The muhly grass doesn't look as good as it could. This isn't the right location for it. All of the milkweed has died. All of the other types of phlox have died. So I planted a bunch of Gina in here and there's like one plant left and it's barely holding on. You can see right here, really pathetic. So this border needs some love and attention. I plan on doing this before the fall open garden because I don't want people to see it looking like this. And you know, that's the main thing about my videos. I'm just trying to be as honest as possible. So when I evaluate the plantings I've created, I'm just giving my honest reaction to it. This is a disaster. It needs to be fixed. Those beds are less of a disaster than I thought they were 2 weeks ago. And that's all part of the gardening experience. And I think before we get too ambitious and build a giant new bed that will then add a lot of additional square footage for management, just need to tighten up these beds, make the beds a little bigger, and then that'll give me a better idea of where this central bed should be and how large it actually needs to be. Remember, the goal with the new bed is that it's going to be an all burn bed, so all species that can be lit on fire for proper management. Well, everybody, I hope this mid-August native garden tour will serve as inspiration for you, recognizing that this is an ongoing educational journey for myself that I really do enjoy sharing. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and happy gardening, everybody.